Hi patrons, for this month I decided to do These Foolish Things, which is actually a song that I don't play very often. Or actually, I don't know people who play it, so that's why I don't play it mostly. Even though I really like the song, it's a great tune. I think it's kind of old, but I'm not sure. It's a fairly simple ballad. I think it's also relatively famous, so you guys probably know it already. If not playing it, then at least you've heard it. Simple 32 bar AABA form. The way I'm playing it, I guess that's a little bit different from what I think I did this once or twice before, where now I'm playing it entirely with the pick, which is sort of the main difference. That's the main thing that's different with this arrangement. And I'm really trying to, most of the time, play, not too strictly, but still really trying to play sort of a quarter note pulse. So it kind of has this sort of walking ballad feel to it. And not exactly ragtime, but like there's like a very strong quarter note pulse in there. I think the song just really lends itself to that really well. So I'm going to cover this. I think I'm just going to cover really just an A part and the bridge, and then talk a little bit about the outro, because there really isn't much else to check out from this. I take it that you guys always check out the performance before you check the lesson. I actually don't know. If you do it differently, then let me know about that in the comments, because I'm just curious. I think that makes a lot more sense. So you probably already heard it and you know what it sounds like. Luckily, this is actually, in many ways, I kind of set out to make it an easy arrangement, but I think when you play it with this quarter note pulse like this, maybe it's not as easy as that. But you can still just reduce it and also leave out some of the quarter notes that I'm playing in there, and then in that way make it easier. Let's go over the first A part. So most of the song is really just built around a turnaround. And this is of course in the key of E flat. So we get first just a 1 chord. I'm playing a 6 chord because the melody note that we get the first time around is an E flat. So that's what makes most sense. You could of course play a major 7, but that would sound a little bit odd on top of the E flat. So right away it's a little bit hard to do that. Some later you could probably do it, but I didn't do that here. So E flat 6, and then again just adding another E flat 6. It's really just the same voicing, but I'm changing the melody. Going down to C minor 7. And then here also just sticking with one voicing. I think one thing that's sort of a consequence of the way that I'm playing it here, and I think that's mostly just what is easier technically and also just a bit of a habit for me, is that I use a lot more triplet rhythms where I'm separating the melody a little bit from the chords so that I can have the clear comping happening, and then I can still have the chord in there. You will see that happen quite a lot in this one. You see that already on beat 4 here. Sorry, so we get, with this melody. And then again on the F minor, same thing. Using the G sort of on the second triplet just to get it away from the chord so that it's still really clear. And then here, so that's the melody on the B flat 7. Adding a flat 9. I don't really need to play the whole chord because I've just played that an eighth note ago. Down to E flat, just an E flat triad. And here we get again, so first just the E flat major triad, and then sort of just the lower part of an E flat, so E flat and G, and then we get the melody as a triplet again, just to separate it from the chord. And this is of course exactly the same as what I played the first time around, so just the same C minor voicing, and keeping the melody separate. Then we get the F7. So here it's still a turnaround, but now it's not a minor chord, it's a dominant chord, so dominant on the dominant. I'm sliding into this F7, which is something that I just found out sounds kind of nice, and it's possible, so why not? And then the B flat 7. I play that like this, I think. It's a little bit interesting. Sometimes you have to, when you're strumming the chords, you kind of need to pay a little bit more attention to how you mute the rest, because it's very important to get everything muted. And here you also get something that I do several times in the different A parts, and actually in several different places also. So we get first just the melodies chord. This is just movement. Take me down to B flat minor, so now we get a 2/5 to the 4th degree, so to A flat. E flat 7. and then to A flat. And here I'm playing an A flat 6. That's simply just because this A flat 6 9 is just easier to go to and sounds better here when I'm this high. D flat 7, C7, up to F7. And this was a little bit tricky actually, mostly just because it's moving around so much. So first just the F7, so that's basically just the F7 with a 9, like I did the first time around. And then just playing the quarter note on beat 2, moving down, the melody starts moving. And then I'm sort of adding the chord in between, so we just the melodies. Like this on the B flat 7, ending on the F there. And then I'm just adding the notes in between, or the chord in between. Oh, sorry. Sorry, and then go to this one, of course, B7 first. That's something I added, but I think it sounds nice to have on the F here, instead of just having the B flat 7 all the time. To add that tritone substitution in there, just to have a little bit of extra movement. And here's a variation of what you already saw me do once with the... going down to B flat minor. Now I'm using this different version, which is just a different rhythm. Down to E flat 6 in the second A. So the second A is really pretty much the same. It's a little bit sort of moving around some fills, but for the rest, I'm basically doing the same thing. I think the only thing that maybe is a little bit different is, of course, the ending, because we don't have the long F7 to B7 to B flat 7. It goes back to E flat. So let's just look at that. So coming out on the F7, like this, and then the first part is really just the same, keeping the quarter notes going. And this is a little bit tricky to get to sound good, because the melodies, of course, actually I think the melody is a quarter note triplet, so. But what I chose to do is just to keep it sort of in the groove, because I'm playing the groove so strong, so I thought, okay, rhythm is more important here. So that's how I'm doing it. It's still fairly clear, so I think. And then moving down, resolving to E flat 6, B flat minor 7 with an 11, and that's really just sort of a chromatic passing chord to take me to A half diminished, which I'm playing like an A minor 11 here. D7 altered, because now we're going to the bridge, and the first chord in the bridge is of course G minor 6. And then here the melody in the bridge is just 2 notes in each bar in the beginning on 2 and 3. So. And I'm going to E half diminished here, adding a little bit of bass movement, and then the melody again down to this D7 flat 9, which is just possible. It's a little bit tricky to play with the bar here, but it's possible. And then we get a G minor 7, because now it's going to C7. So C7. And then I'm repeating the chord, adding a G flat 7 as a passing chord. And then a quick flat 9. I think really just using the triplet here as a sort of extra tension. So when we're playing this tenor tempo and it's this feel all the time, then you can kind of create a little bit of extra tension by doing. And that's kind of what I'm using here. And you see it happen a few times that I do this. Sometimes to get the melody out, and in other places I think like this, just to create tension and just to really, you can hear like this needs to resolve. And it does, down to B flat, G minor, and then C7, which I could only play if I used my thumb to play the bass note here when I was strumming, so F7. And then we get this part, which is actually really beautiful. Which is first this B flat. I played as a sus. I think sometimes it says B flat 7, but I like to play it as a sus chord. And then to this E diminished with B flat in the bass, with an A in the melody, which of course is also just nice in the middle of this cadence. It's F minor 7, B flat 7, really. And then to, sorry, I'm playing it here, I think. And here I couldn't really get it to work sort of technically to play the B flat in the bass and then really get the chord that I wanted. So I actually went with the chord and just played the F minor 7, even though I kind of wanted to have sort of this sound. But I ended up with sorry. And then down to B flat 7. Adding another triplet rhythm, but really just that. And then we come out on the last A on the E flat 6/9. So the last A is really the same as the second A. And then there is a short outro, really just an ending to it, which, as you can probably tell, is quite improvised. But that's actually the only thing we kind of need to cover, and then we have the whole song. So again, F7. And then here I'm just really kind of laying it. So when I get to this one, no, actually there's something else that's different, because if I go back to B flat, and then the melody is different, it goes up to G. And here I actually didn't put like a bass note under it, just because I think it's more practical. And up here anyway, kind of loses the connection to it being a bass note when it gets this high. So. And then for the rest, it's the same as in the other ones with the D flat and the C7, going to F7. And here I kind of just let it rest and lay it down here. And the way I've written this out rhythmically is open to interpretation. It's really just rubato for this bar, adding like a B7 to harmonize the E flat up to B flat 7. This is very rubato in the recording. And then kind of going back to tempo. To D flat 7 to C minor 7, so I'm kind of just extending it. Normally it would just end on the E flat 6, right? But I'm going to E flat 6 and then adding a little bit of melody to C minor 7, and then of course flat 6 major 7 chord, and then a line on that. So and that's just a improvised solo line ending on E flat major 7 with a 13 like this, which is anyway a beautiful chord to have in your vocabulary. It's really just like a G sus chord with an E flat in the bass. So that's the arrangement. That's really all there is to it. So I'm kind of curious if you guys find it very difficult to play, or if it is doable, because I kind of set out to make it a little bit easier, but in hindsight, I'm not sure it is that easy to play like this at all. And at the same time, it is, I mean, as an exercise, it is a really good exercise in sort of this independence of being able to have chords and melody moving at the same time. Should probably do like an Instagram Friday on this. But that's for another time. So for that, I mean, it's a really good exercise to work on arrangements like this, and it can be a little bit difficult to find songs that do this, especially if they go low. I think this is kind of forgiving because it's pretty high in this key, which is the common key for the song. So that is something that's definitely useful to keep in mind, and also to try and check out with this. For the rest, it's a beautiful song, and you can also play it where you're not trying to play all the chord notes the same way that I am and just use the same voicings. So you're kind of ending up with like this. You know, that will work. That works as well. That works just fine. It's a little bit different, but that's still something that's quite playable, and you can actually take this arrangement and reduce it to that. So if you have any questions on this as well, or also just if you say like this was crazy, a bit difficult, then just let me know about that. And for the rest, of course, suggestions are always welcome. And thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys next month.